Good morning, my children, and welcome to your English class, the class of the teacher Jacob. Today, my children, we're going to continue with the review of objects and topics that we already saw in the past. Now, today, we are going to talk about parts of the family. Well, before we enter into this topic, let's go back to yesterday's video. Now, yesterday we were talking about objects that we can find inside the kitchen. We saw things like the microwave, the stove, the pan, another that you remember, the refrigerator, of course. Excellent. The spoon and the fork. Okay. Now, remember the microwave, it's an object that we use to heat things faster, para calentar las cosas con mayor velocidad. The stove, remember, it's the place that we use to cook our food, okay? Recuerden que ese es el lugar donde nosotros cocinamos. We turn on the heaters, prendemos los calentadores, we put some oil in the pan, agregamos un poco de aceite en el sartén, and we start cooking the meat or our favorite food, o nuestra comida predilecta. Then the pan, remember, it's the object in which we put the food, donde nosotros agregamos la comida y después la colocamos en la estufa, en los calentadores. What about the refrigerator? What do you remember about it? The refrigerator has two cabinets. Recuerden que tiene dos contenedores. The one that is up, el que está en la parte de arriba, it's called the freezer. Okay, and it's basically where we put the raw meat, la carne cruda, or we put the ice cream, o donde ponemos el hielo, or the ice cube tracers, o esos pedacitos de hielo. Okay, we put them inside the freezer. The second compartment of the refrigerator, el segundo compartimiento, el que está en la parte de abajo, it's where we put the fruit, the vegetables, donde ponemos la fruta y los vegetales, okay? Now, what about the fork and the spoon? What do you remember about it? Remember, the fork in Spanish, it's tenedor, and the spoon in Spanish, cuchara, okay? Very good. Now, today we're going to discuss a topic that is also very important and very interesting, parts of the family. Now, most of the family, not all of them, okay, la mayoría, no todas, las familias have five people, tienen 5 personas. We have the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, and the baby, okay? Like I mentioned it, not all of them, okay? And there is nothing wrong that we don't have, for example, our father in our side or the mother in our side. No pasa nada, no importa si a lo mejor nuestro papá pues no se encuentra ahorita con nosotros, o nuestra mamá, o a lo mejor si no tenemos un hermano, una hermana, no importa, no, eso no nos quita el valor como personas que somos, personas muy valiosas. Así es que vamos a ver, let's start with characteristics of each one of these members of the family. The first one, like I mentioned it, is the father, okay? Now, for this, I can ask questions like, what's the name of your father, okay? ¿Cuál es el nombre de su papá? Si es que se encuentra con ustedes. And you can reply by saying, my father's name is, and you say the name of your father, okay? Let's practice it. Now, for example, my father's name, el nombre de mi papá, the name of the father of the teacher Jacob is Sergio, okay? My father's name is Sergio. Now, what about you? What's your father's name? ¿Cuál es el nombre de su papá? Okay, very good. Now, what about you? What's the name of your father? Remember, we have to reply, tenemos que contestar my father's name, el nombre de mi papá, y me dicen su nombre, okay? Remember, that's the way we have to answer it. Es la forma de responderlo. What's your father's name? Okay, very good. What's your father's name? Excellent, very good. So, remember, father, in Spanish, papa. Now let's continue with the one that is next to is the brother. Now, most of us, like I mentioned before, we have either brothers or sisters, okay? Nosotros o tenemos hermanos, o tenemos hermanas, o tenemos ambos, okay? In the case of the teacher Jacob, I have 2 brothers. Yo tengo 2 hermanos. What about you? Do you have a brother? Yes? Okay, do you have a brother? Yes? Okay, what about you? Do you have a brother? ¿Tienes hermano? No? Okay, the ones that you have a brother, what's your brother's name? ¿Cuál es el nombre de su hermano? Remember, the answer, we have to use my brother's name. Recuerden que para responder tenemos que decir my brother's name, que quiere decir el nombre de mi hermano es, y me dicen cómo se llama, ¿ok? One more time. What's your brother's name? ¿Cómo se llama tu hermano? My brother's name is, okay, very good. What's your brother's name? Okay, excellent. What's your brother's name? Okay, very good. Okay, that's interesting. I'm learning a lot about you today, my children. Let's continue with the one that is next to. We have the sister. Okay, now the sister is basically the form of the girl. In the case of the brother, it's the form of the boy. Okay, remember sister for girl. Now, in the case of the teacher Jacob, I don't have sisters, I only have brothers, okay? But that doesn't mean I am less important. Aunque yo no tenga hermanas, pues eso no quiere decir que seamos menos importantes, okay? Recuerden que todas las familias son diferentes. But for those of you that have sisters, let's ask the question. Para los que ustedes tengan hermanas, vamos a hacer la pregunta. What's your sister's name? ¿Cuál es el nombre de su hermana? Remember, we have to reply, my sister's name, el nombre de mi hermana is, y me dicen el nombre. What's your sister's name, if you have it? Okay. What's your sister's name? Okay. Very good, excellent. What's your sister's name? Okay, very good, excellent. Okay, like I mentioned it, I'm learning about your family. The teacher is learning a lot about your family. Now, the one that is next to the sister is the couple of the father, the mother. Okay, now once again, in the case of the teacher Jacob, my mother's name is Lupita, like Miss Lupita from Kinder 2. Okay, that's the name of my mother. Now, once again, I'm going to ask the question, what's your mother's name? ¿Cuál es el nombre de su mamá? And you have to reply the answer by saying, my mother's name, el nombre de mi mamá is, and you say it, okay? What's your mother's name? Okay, very good. What's your mother's name? Okay. What's your mother's name? Okay, very good. And let's ask another person. What's your mother's name? Excellent. Very good pronunciation. And the teacher is very happy because you are concentrating and you are paying attention to the class. Now, the last member of the family is, of course, the little one, the baby. Now remember, the baby is a person that is very small and it barely walks. It's starting to learn how to walk and está el que empieza a caminar, el que está aprendiendo a caminar. The baby, remember, they don't talk, okay? They babble, okay? Babble, balbucean, they don't talk, no hablan, okay? And in the case, obviously, they can be either boy or girl, but they are defined by the name baby. Okay, aunque sea niña o niño, siempre nos referimos a ellos como los bebés, the baby. Now, in the case of the teacher Jacob, I don't have a baby, But at some point in time, en un tiempo, hubo un momento en donde todos nosotros, all of us, we were babies, éramos bebés. Okay? So that's a little bit, that's a very interesting reflection. Now, before we finish with members or part of the family, let's go and repeat the vocabulary one more time. For this, remember, the teacher Jacob is going to say it first, then you have to repeat it with all of your energy so I can hear you. Let's begin. Father, brother, sister. Remember, sister in Spanish, hermana. Mother. And finally, the baby. Excellent. Very good pronunciation, my children. So that's it for today. Remember, the activity of today appears on your printed pages. This is the information of today. What you have to do is to paint it. And don't forget, while you're painting your objects, don't forget to mention the name of them, okay? While you're painting, you have to repeat the name so you can memorize it and register on your brain faster, para que quede en la cabecita y ya no se nos olvide. Have an excellent afternoon. Take care. Goodbye.